Oh, Nate, you're muted.
You're muted.
Oh, that was a good introduction. You missed the first words that I said because I muted myself so I could get a good drink of water to get ready to get pumped. Because tonight is game 6 here in Indianapolis, Indiana, where the Pacers are back against the wall. They're down 3-2, and they're trying to fight to win the NBA Finals. I don't know what they're going to do. Our best player may not play. He only had 4 points in the last game. It's all kind of craziness. But this comes into merchant services for this. In the payments world, sometimes your back is against the wall. Sometimes they say no to you. Sometimes you have 15 calls in a row where they say, go take a hike. And the question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to get off the mat and make sure that you're a winner? Make sure that you're going to keep going. Find a new strategy, find a new opportunity, find a new product, find a new service. Well, the best way, and one of the best ways to do that, is come hang out with PayProTec every once in a while. And one of the ways you can do that is do that through office hours when you bring the best trainers and relationship managers and recruiters together right here on office hours. And here's our team. On the right-hand side of your screen is Mr. Mike Stetzel. Mike, I know you're a Pacers fan, at least this time of year. We're, a little stressed about this game tonight.
Absolutely.
But we're just, we're in this mode where we're like, hey, let's go all in. We believe we can do this. And I think that has a lot of things. When you have that mentality, that makes life a little better. What do you think, Mike?
I agree, and I think, like you said, you can compare this to your own business, but if you think about us not having our best player in full form the last time we played, and he only scored 4 points, there were a couple times we were as close as 5 to 7 points of being within Oklahoma City, and we've done it before. Would we love to have him? Absolutely. But the Pacers have shown that they can work around things like that. And as you alluded to, it's the same thing in business. Like you said, your back's against the wall. Sometimes it's against the wall in this business as well. I had a guy call me the other day, and we were chatting, and he got 3 deals in one day that time. It was first he had ever done that. He closed 3 deals in the same day. So he felt like he had really been having a hard time for the last couple of weeks, and this time he got it though. So
You never know.
it can happen.
You never
Exactly.
know. I mean, Jenny Rickle, when you're running 100 miles and you're feeling down on mile 67, which I can't believe how that feels, you got to have something that gives you a little bit of energy, a little something that drives you. And what sets, how do you get out of that funk when whether it's your 100-mile race, or last night you told me, we just that you were, going through, I'll let you share that if you want to. I just really, but when there's stress in your life, how do you
Yeah.
like get up off the mat?
Yeah,
Mm.
well, so life throws a lot at you, right? So, and I think that this can pertain to like any situation. Like, what's a story that you want to tell? So, when I'm running a 67-mile race, and I'm like, okay, do I want to tell people that I gave up? Do I want to like, is that the story I want to tell, or do I want to tell how I tried my hardest and how I finished? And yeah, so last night there's actually in Colorado we have a lot of wildfires, and a fire started literally about half a mile from my house.
Mm.
So we evacuated, we grabbed all our stuff. For those who know me, I have 3 dogs and a cat. Like I had to wrangle up. And I was able to go home last night, but it's still smoldering. It's so close to my house. It's incredibly scary, but like back to like you handle what life throws at you. In the world of sales, one of my favorite things I've ever heard is when you're going out there, you have 10 calls, maybe you get 9 no's and you get one yes. And that yes can totally change your life. Right. So you just got to get up there, keep hammering. And what's a story that you want to tell?
I love that. And that is, that's what we're here to do at office hours, to help you tell your best story. And we only have a small portion of your life, just your business life, your PPT Nation life. We're working every day to try to earn that part of your business and that part of your story. And we want to help you make sure that you're, living your best life. And one of the best ways we can do that is by talking about what's new. So over the next several weeks, I don't know how long I'll do this, but every week we're going to start out office hours with a little question. What's new? And so I'm going to ask Mike and Jenny, what's new? And this week, I think Jenny's going to bring us something that she's noticed that's new that we think will be helpful to the partners. Jenny, what's new?
Yep. So it's not actually new, but it's a new functionality that I'm using in my day to day because I'm on the Partner Hub all day. For those of you like me, you've noticed that it's changed, right? There's an entire new look to it. Previously, when I would try to find notes from our underwriting team on what is needed for an account approval, I would just go into the merchant account and go under workflows, and there you would be able to review the notes from our underwriting team. With the new updates, if you do that, you'll notice that it's a little hard to go through the different line items and depict what the underwriting team is saying. Like you have to, it's more of a manual search. So what I've been doing instead is when you go into your merchants on the right hand side, there's a button that says pending accounts with note. And if you select that, you're actually taken to a different screen where it shows all the notes from underwriting with the account information. You don't have to go into the account. You don't have to search around for it. It's literally just a line by line of like Sally Smith is missing ID verification, or Bob's Auto Body Shop, we need to go ahead and get a voided check. Like it's literally listed out for you instead of searching through it. It's just been a more efficient way for me for my day to day. So if you're going through, you're trying to find notes from underwriting, go into pending accounts with notes on the upper right hand side, and you'll be able to search very quickly.
Love it. I love it. That is when you find something that may have been there before, but suddenly it's easier to find and more useful, and then it becomes part of your daily dry and just fixes things for you. It just makes life so much easier. And I will put a couple of our little, make sure people know. Scott said, go Pacers. We appreciate that. And then keeping on task, Kevin Lashley said, yes, that was a great update. And it's always good to have something that is a good update. Whenever we change things and let's be honest, not everybody likes it. 10, 20% are going to hate it. 10, 20% are going to love it. And the middle 80%, 60 to 80% are going to be whatever. And but we're always trying to improve. So over the next couple minutes, we're going to go over a couple weeks ago, our last posted episode. We did have an episode last week that we ended up taking down because we had some YouTube issues. And sometimes things happen, but they don't happen. But now we're going to ask some questions, because if you remember a couple weeks ago, I took all the questions that have ever been sent to partners@PayProTec.com, loaded them into a Gemini Notebook LM, that's the word I was thinking for, and then said, what are the most common questions that are being asked of our partners? And then, AI kind of, always spoofs it up or makes it a little fancier. So today we're going to answer two questions. Mike, this first one is coming to you. What are the best practices for consistently delivering real value and superb service to satisfied clients to build trust and generate a steady stream of referrals? And I think this probably becomes, because I was like, man, that's a really interesting question. That this is I don't think you guys asked that question away. I think what you asked most of the time, and Gemini made it a little fancier, is how do I bring value? Because we are always preaching, you can't always sell on price. Don't always sell on price. You've got to sell on value to differentiate yourself. And Mike, what do you say to our partners to help them build trust and generate a steady stream of referrals?
Gosh, this is one of my favorite topics and something we talk about fairly often. So I'm glad we have some different people on board today. And we have some people, if you guys want to chime in with any of yours in the chat, we have some veterans in the crowd, I see. So providing value, gosh, what does it look like? Does it look like that you bring donuts to the office to your customer? Do you bring donuts to the mechanic shop where you supply their payment processing? Do you take mini sub sandwiches? I mean, those are easy things. You're just putting your head in the door. And I've listened to partners describe that experience where the employees are, oh, hey, thank you, man. The credit card guy is here. And so you're now making connections. And he's given me 2 or 3 examples of where this mechanic shop, Billy used to work at that mechanic shop. Billy has quit now and gone and started his own. And now he has that payment processing as well. So you're just making yourself visible in that case. Making sure that, what you told your merchant they're going to be billed for is what they're paying. A lot of partners go through their merchant statements every month. Some do it quarterly. Was there a mistake? Was there some cellular charge on there that maybe wasn't right? I'm not saying that we make mistakes. We do, certainly. But it's just something that helps your merchant understand that you're there to watch out for them and not just make a paycheck. You thinking anything else, Nate? I mean, I could go on, obviously, but I don't know how long you wanted us to go.
No. Well, we try to keep these relatively short, but I think,
Yeah.
and I'll let Jenny answer this question too, but I think one of the key things about value is making it unique to each merchant and figuring out what is special to them. So some things, some of the merchants are more relational, and showing up and bringing donuts is going to set you apart. Sometimes it's finding out something specifically about their business that shows that you have a competence and understanding of how they do business. And there are lots of things that can bring those value, but but the best question, if you're asking the question, how do I bring value to a merchant? That's the best start. Then you've got to start finding unique ways you can do it. Jenny, what would you add? Anything?
I mean, Mike, you're really I'm going to echo really what you just said, and Nate too, knowing your customer and providing that support, because really honestly, in credit card processing, we all are in the same world, right? So what differentiates us from the rest? That customer service, being on, picking up the phone and talking to somebody that is huge. Just think about it as a customer. When you call into a call center and you talk to somebody and they say, oh, I don't know, let me transfer you to another team. 20 minutes later, you've talked to 4 reps, 3 different teams, and it's just a mess and you want to pull your hair out. They can call us. They can call Jenny. They can call Mike. They can call Nate. They can reach out to us and say, you guys, I'm having a hard time. And that is something that is just invaluable to customers, really. Providing that extra little bit to support your customers will go a long way. And that helps with reputation. We talked about this in a different episode, is once they know that you are there and that you're a good team member, that you support them, then they'll tell their friends and their friends tell their friends. And it just it snowballs, right? So adding value is such a good way to really grow your business, become successful, and just grow.
Yeah. All right. Next question coming to Jenny. I love those answers. So this one is will change. What do you bring value to your merchant? But then this one's more about the payments industry as a whole and what our understandings are. And this one's this: what are typical risks associated with payment processing? And it says such as fraud, chargebacks, and what's tools, strategies like encryption, tokenization, transaction monitoring are used to mitigate these risks. And I'm going to add into it. And how do those risks affect our partners, and how do those risks affect our merchants, and how those things tie together? Because these risks cost all of us money when they happen, and how does that affect our partners, ourselves, our merchants when that happens? Jenny, how do you want to start with that?
Well, I'm chuckling to myself because I literally just had to go through all of my annual, because I have to do this every year in my position, all the trainings that I have to do for risk, fraud, money laundering, all kinds of stuff. You guys, it's so out there, just from our perspective, from the merchant perspective, as well as the business owners and the customers, right? We want to protect all the data. So there's a lot of training that I go through to make sure that everything is encrypted. The best way to take a transaction is obviously going to be the tap, chip, or a swipe, where we don't hold any data. If you're keying something in or anything, always make sure that the business owner is not storing any card information using one of our secure systems. This goes along with PCI compliance. We have to ensure that we're really protecting the cardholder's data and information and making sure that it's secure. And then on our side, we also need to make sure that businesses are legitimate, that they're not running any fraudulent transactions. This is why our underwriting team goes through everything, because you guys, if you set up a business where maybe the business owner is not completely honest with you, and you go through a lot of time and effort to get them boarded, and then within 2 weeks they're shut down because they're not doing something that they should be doing, that's no fun for anybody. So we really try to team up, right? Making sure that our businesses are protected, making sure that we're protected, and that we set up, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of successful, legitimate businesses out there who just want to take credit card payments. And so that's what we really try to get onto our books, support, make sure that they're successful, and really, really try to find anybody who's not going to be honest with us, and keep those away from us.
Yeah. We sometimes get so focused on the money we make in this industry, which is wonderful, and we're thankful for it, and it's a great thing. But at the end of the day, there are people out there that are causing fraud, that they're sending chargebacks that aren't even real, or they're getting chargebacks because they are real, not a real transaction. And there's a lot of this goes on, and we those of us who are on the leadership team, we look at all these losses every month, and always sometimes staggering. It's like, whoa, we had what losses last month? And now we still make money, we still do it, but we have to mitigate, and we're working as hard as we can to mitigate all that risk, to mitigate. We have huge ERM teams. We had our team in Ireland that we're connected to that just won some rewards for all they're doing in enterprise risk management, and trying to make sure that we're making real-time decisions and making the best decisions with all the AI tools and everything that's out there. But at the end of the day, there are real-time losses. So sometimes when you feel that pushback, we understand it too. We wish we could just approve every merchant. We wish we could approve every transaction. That would make life easy, but we can't, because we would lose our shirt. And trust me, you don't want to see us shirtless. So at the end of the day, what you want to do is protect ourselves as much as possible. And that's what we do. We do that as much. So Mike, anything you want to add to that? Jenny had a wonderful answer to that.
I'm normally the guy that gets threatened with HR. It's you today. We don't want to continue the conversation about that. Anyway, um, you distracted me. Anyway, so I think what Nate and Jenny are both saying is that we're very fortunate to have the tools that PayProTec and North have in place to do the majority of this work. Uh, as I think Dominic posted in the chat here, he said, "What? A merchant that's not telling the truth?" Yeah, we know that happens, unfortunately, and we try our best to skirt that. But my point is, we have things that catch people after the fact. We have things that the three of us don't know about, that are monitoring transactions and looking for certain things within a certain MCC code. So if you have an MCC code for a restaurant, all of a sudden you start taking every day as $1,000 transactions, that's going to get flagged probably, because it's not typical for that MCC code. And that's why we use all those categorization codes, is so that we can not only categorize our business, but categorize them after the fact and their risk quotient, so to speak. So there are a lot of tools in place that protect us, and we know it's frustrating. But as Dominic said, or is basically saying, sometimes we're right. There are reasons we shouldn't board a merchant, or there's a reason we decide to part ways with merchants.
Well, and there is, I will close on this, and then we're going to have our final word with Jenny Rickle as we close our office hours for this June 19th. And I think she's going to talk a little bit. That is Juneteenth as we're recording this. But when it comes to risk, the beauty of this is, for you as our sales partners, is we're going to do as most of the heavy lifting, and our team is going to do most of the heavy lifting. And I don't even want to say us, like Mike, Jenny, Nate, and our, but we have teams and teams of people, hundreds and thousands of people that are looking out, trying to make sure that all transactions are good transactions, that we're not going to see chargebacks, we're not going to see fraud, we're not going to have crazy things where, we had one recently where a merchant was a reputable restaurant that was processing good money, but then they decided to start doing fake catering transactions. And suddenly they were running thousands of dollars of fake catering transactions on the same cards that they were getting restaurant transactions. Well, suddenly that business is on the no serve fly list, and they're not going to get any more. But our team is going to come along, because again, if you don't make money, we don't make money. If your merchants don't make money, you don't make money, we don't make money. It's all in. The goal is all the same. But we're going to work in it together. And that's the beauty of this. And so when I keep asking the questions of your relationship managers and your trainers and all the team, but know that we really do have the best interest of all of our merchants and all of our partners. And we really want to approve as many transactions as possible, because that's how we make money in this world. Now it's time for our final word. Jenny?
You guys, it's a good day today. It is Juneteenth, right? Honoring that, really celebrating this day. And for those of you who forgot, we had a little funny conversation earlier that, sometimes the date just kind of gets to you, right? And it's in the middle of the week, and Nate was like, "Oh, I forgot." And like suddenly things are closed and stuff like that. So, but really just honoring today. And then it's also, tomorrow is the first day of summer. Like there's a lot going on right now. And so it's really a great time to just feel energetic, really start getting out there. As we come into summer, there's just a lot of great opportunities. Fireworks stands, block parties, festivals, really just making your face known to the local vendors, the local communities, because a lot of time local businesses will just have a booth out at these block parties, and you can really hand them your card. That way, when they want to start credit cards or change credit card processing, you're going to be the first person that they call. The days are long, right? So you can get up early, really take a look at your book of business, get ready for the day, get out there, get selling. And really just celebrate the summer. So thanks for being with us today, keeping the energy up, get out there, and hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
And absolutely, we'll answer one last question. Thank you, Jenny. It is, if you need help, you need support, you need training, you can reach out to partners at PayProTec.com. You can reach out to Mike, Jenny. I think, do we have training at PayProTec.com that goes to, We should. If we don't, I'm going to create that. Go to partners at
We
PayProTec.com.
we did have. I don't know that ever went live.
Okay,
Right.
well, and I think we have training calendars. I know we put that in an email that went out last week where you can get on the training calendars of this. I should have a URL that I could just say. In fact, I'm going to do that. Emily, if you're watching, remind me to do ppttraining.com and refer it to their calendar so you can get on training, because we want to make sure it's easy for you to get the training you need. But you can just reach out to partners at PayProTec.com for anything, and they'll refer it really quickly to where you need to be. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Mohammed, and so many other people that are here. I'm going to stop. On that behalf of Jenny Rickle, Mike Stetzel, I'm Nate Manahan, and we say, go Pacers. Yes, sirs. We'll see you next time on
Yes, sirs.
Office Hours. Bye, guys.
Bye, you guys.
See ya.